Hello, and today we're with Michael Manser, recruitment and staffing guru. Hello, Michael. How are you?
Hello, Ian. I'm doing great.
It's been a bit of a while, hasn't it? So it's good to see you.
Likewise.
Now, listen, I wanted to talk to you today about AI in recruitment. And I know recently you've had quite a lot of hands-on experience of operational absorption of AI into organizations. Let me start by the top line question. How do you think AI is impacting on the staffing and recruitment industry?
I think AI is uh, farther advanced than the adoption is showing so far in the industry. We got to recently try some new aspect of an AI recruiter, and the stats were just amazing. The experience of listening to the recruiter was eye-opening, ear-opening. They're basically you know, audio bots that are talking to people. And to give you an example, the conversation's going 15, 20 minutes for an interview. And that reality of people love to talk, people love to be the center of attention, and the AI bot is focused on asking questions and then listening patiently, asking follow-on questions. So it's this reality that it's going to be much more friendly than anyone ever thought. In fact, one of the recent, it was an interview on Peter Diamandis that was asking about when is AI going to become more human friendly, and the reality is AI is literally more human than humans. It's nicer. It's polite. It's not going to be mean. It's going to be listening. It's a lot of ahas are happening in the world of AI. They're passing by thresholds that they thought would be tough, and the reality is they're going very smoothly into that world. So sorry, that was a long answer,
Oh
but
no, it's
yeah.
quite an incredible answer. It's kind of mind blowing answer. And you talked about the stats. What sort of stats are you talking about?
So when you look at productivity, I think one of the stats that was important to watch was 50 to 1. In other words, 50 times the productivity of a recruiter, just because they're not limited by how many people they could be talking to at once, by how many calls they could be making, and then also the fact that they follow the rules that the company sets. If you tell a recruiter that you're supposed to document everything that you walked away with, every call you made needs to be documented, what was the outcome, what's the next step, they follow all the rules better than humans do. So I think that productivity is across the board, that they do more, but then the quality of what they're doing is captured better. When you walk away from the fact that an AI recruiter just called somebody and they may not be the right fit for the job you have, but the reality is this is somebody who's really good, really got good skills, and who's motivated and who's interested in the next move in their career. That's a good action item for us. And a lot of times recruiters don't pick up on that. They don't go after the great talent, but the AI recruiter understood that it was and it needs action. So
Right.
there's a lot of aspects of they're outperforming both in quantity and quality.
And if I was to speak to somebody that owns or runs a staffing agency today, they'd probably be saying to me, "Well, yeah, that's great, Ian, but we focus on a niche. We understand, healthcare in a particular area of healthcare, or we've got accounting as a key area, and we are accountants. We understand accountants. You've got that closeness and understanding of an intimate market area, or a curated group of people." Does AI fall short there? Is that the human advantage potentially there?
It may feel like the human advantage because right now they'll have a memory in the recruiter's brain about what is their hot candidates that they know are available immediately. But it's a very finite group of people. And it's instead of, I can remember the 10 people that told me they were available. But the reality is, AI will know that there's 1,000 people who have that exact skill and that they are available. And in fact, when you look at it, the quality of what the best candidate could be, I'd rather pick the best candidate of 1,000, not of 10, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely.
AI has the bigger net that it can take advantage of. And then the reality is AI is now, it's not one brain, it's the brain of the entire network. So it's going to have more knowledge every day. It's getting smarter and smarter about the niche,
Mm,
about what makes somebody good at what they do versus average. And it knows what questions to ask better than what a typical recruiter, because there's not that learning curve. It
mm,
it knows already. So I
mm.
think there's a lot of aspects of there's fear of change everywhere. But the reality is you can't avoid it. These are just going to be, you're either going to be the one that adopted it or you're going to be the group that didn't. And there's going to be a big divide of how in the world can you stay up without using the efficiency and the quality and impact of providing a better service to our clients. So
So on that point, Michael, I guess, people listening are going to be thinking, well, yeah, but how do I as an agency provide my competitive differentiator when effectively, ultimately, perhaps everybody's going to be using the same bots, so how does my quality come through? What are your thoughts on that?
well, I think there's a lot of there's still art, and that comes into exactly how do you use your AI assistant. In other words,
Right.
it's you're curating your prompts. It's That's what everyone's learning right now. If they're adopting AI, it's the fact that you've got to learn how to communicate and ask the right questions, or be really clear about exactly what you're looking for.
Mm,
So to give you an example, if I'm looking for the best new you know project manager, to work for my client, asking the right question about what kind of industry do you want to see in their background, what kind of skills do you want to see in their background, what kind of motivation, what kind of culture are they going to work best in. All of that will still be where you get to define what you're good at, but you've got to be able to communicate that to the AI. So it will be garbage in, garbage out. The better that you communicate to your AI, the better the result will be. That's
mm.
where people will have to learn how to become great at this. So
And I guess to some extent, those companies that choose to invest in this sort of technology are going to be perhaps the fastest to embrace it, the fastest to learn it, and the fast to take advantage of it.
I think the answer may not be invest. That may not be the right word, because to be honest, a lot of it is free, or a lot of
Right.
it does not cost much.
Mm,
The reality is the companies that choose to change, choose to maybe the word is invest in change management, and be brave to step into that space, they'll do better. And
mm,
that's kind of, you look at the last couple rounds of change that's coming to the staffing industry, about whether it's AI recruiting or on-demand platforms.
mm,
They've been around for 5 years now, and the adoption has been really slow because it was so scary,
mm,
because people felt like it's going to put them out of their job, or it's changing what they did before. They have to learn how to be more accurate about how they communicate what they need, or they have to need to communicate via a platform
mm, mm,
before they just like calling Joe.
mm.
And that's that reality that you'll have to make sure you're really helping the staff understand how to navigate that change and how
Yeah.
to leverage it. And scalability and efficiency are the two key words. That's going to be the payoff, is that they can become bigger, better, faster than what they're doing today by using these tools.
So where do you see the competitive differentiation for staffing businesses in the future? Where is that going to come from?
It's going to come from a lot of different places, and one of them, is going to be interesting. It's how fast you're willing to change, how well you can articulate the value, how well you can manage your clients adopting the change.
Yeah.
Because we can change and we can provide something different, but unless the client actually changes with us, there'll be friction. And one of the most recent, 2 weeks ago now, there was a breakthrough at MIT where they have an algorithm that teaches robots how to learn by themselves. And they literally can, when they make a mistake, something that doesn't come out the way that they wanted it to, they can try something new and create a new learning scale. Then that learning immediately gets put out to the universe of all the other robots. So it's a milestone moment in the world of AI robotics. And that got me thinking about the fact that in 2019, we all saw the Atlas robot moving boxes around by Boston Dynamics. And the idea in that moment was, wow, staffing companies might have temp robots that will be provided instead of workers because they're more efficient, they could be cheaper, because they could do the mundane, difficult, hard work that people get injured at, and no overtime, stuff like that. And the reality is, you look at where we're at with robotics right now, there's 20 companies that have robots that are in process of being built, and they're ready to be AI robotics. And the world of change that's coming at us, I don't think people are really aware of. That Elon Musk is anticipating the fact that there'll be more robots in 2040 than there are people in the world. And that should give everybody a wake-up call that the reality is, if you have that future dream, we always thought that you would have a robotic assistant that could sit here, make all your meals, they could fold your clothes, they can thread needles now, they can play pianos now. It is it's just the world of the future is here. And that reality that they only cost $10,000 to make, they'll sell them for $20,000 to you. But the reality is, a temporary company could literally be buying a fleet of robotic workers and putting them out, and they could be the curator of how they deploy that team, how they manage that first round of learnings and assignments and placement, and they could do it as leasing that robotic solution, because that's a fear that Tesla is going to start leasing them instead of selling them, so they can own that marketplace.
That's a lot to eat in one meal. But if I pick this back up to business models, and also, so I guess staffing for me has always had an aspect of the mamas and papas stores at the bottom end of the market, and it's gone up to the big organizations that are running workforces across continents. But if you've put all of your effort into a staffing business, and you feel that you've built that business up over years, what protections have you got now? Because it seems to me that from what you've just described there, Michael, you could get a VC company that's got a lot of cash and some savvy business leaders, and they could literally just parachute into this market right now.
They could, but so could you. In other words, there's not a large barrier of entry. So there's things you could be doing right now that are very fast and nimble and cheap. And the reality is, AI is almost an equalizer now. That the handicap will be the big, clumsy, bulky companies that have the hardest time changing what they're doing, because they have so much invested in their current systems that change will be tough. But if you're small and you're nimble, and you have the ability to just overnight be able to start using things quicker, faster, then you have an advantage. So
I'm just thinking about again, if you are looking at this in terms of adoption of AI, then to get to that advantage, it's not just about the technology, is it? There's also the kind of culture as well.
It's the culture, and in our conversation that you and I had building up to this call, the secret is curiosity.
Mm.
Those people that are going to do well in this next realm will be people who are curious and people who are open to exploring more. I think they're going to have an advantage at
Mm.
understanding how AI can be just as disruptional as what the internet was, or what the iPhone was. But we made it through it, and we became better at using these tools, at doing our jobs.
Yeah.
That's literally what AI is going to be doing again, and
Mm.
that uh, conquering that fear of that change will be a huge advantage.
Mm.
And that's what I'm wondering: who's going to have the least amount of fear?
Mm.
Which population will be, but that's what they have to understand. If you want to make it to the next level, you have to embrace it. So
So really, what you're saying, I mean, it's interesting that I guess when I started this call, I was thinking there's this kind of huge pile of investment that's needed, and you just buy it and you just implement it. But really, what you're saying is it's more about actually the culture, the curiosity, the willingness to adopt this stuff and really embrace it and change it. And the financing is there, but it's only one of the pieces, I guess.
I think that's true. And one of the things that they talk about with this new Chat GPT-4, Chat GPT-5 coming out, the reality is the more that you understand how to ask the question, and you can ask it in your own language, and it comes back and talks to you very human like, that's what's escalating the adoption
Yeah.
route so much quicker, is the fact that you can go to Perplexity now and ask a question. It'll come back and research the answer. You can see its thought process go through, give you all the cited notes about where the information came from. But then it's telling you, if you're interested in this topic, here's the 5 other questions you should probably ask me. That is just brilliant.
Yeah.
And that's literally showing you how AI is going to teach us how to talk to AI. And the minute we start getting comfortable with using our voice,
Mm.
I think that's going to escalate that adoption even quicker.
So I guess it's interesting that I'm going to move on to the conversation about inverting the hiring pyramid, because I've invited you to this panel, which I'm delighted about, Michael. So thanks for going on to that later. So that's on I think it's the 17th, if I'm not mistaken, of October. We're doing that. And the reason that we've got that session going on is because there is a lot of interest in curated talent pools and direct sourcing. This notion that you can potentially now find the talent before you need it, and then just select the talent from your curated talent pools. But I wanted to get your perspective on that, and also the segue into the relationship with AI that represents. Because first of all, do you see that happening? Do you think that's going to happen? This kind of inversion of the hiring pyramid, and if it does, what's the role of AI?
Yeah. So I think that marketplace inversion, or sorry, use the phrase that I know I need to introduce very quickly.
Yeah, yeah,
The inversion of the hiring pyramid is, the reality is everyone's in a marketplace, and you have to be thinking about what is your marketplace. It could be the fact that you're not limited by geography. What your marketplace is really a set of skills. It
mm,
could be programmers, it could be engineers, it could be healthcare practitioners within a certain skill set, but they could be doing the work virtually. So
mm,
understanding what your marketplace looks like is the first place, and then being able to measure how many people do I have in that marketplace versus how much demand is sitting in that marketplace, and where does the future of that demand look like. I could
mm,
be great at something that's going away, and that will be a death for my business. So I think that's the key question all the time, is know your marketplace and know where it's going to be going in the future.
mm,
So if you're in IT right now and you're great at programmers, you should be scared of AI, because AI is going to change drastically the fact that I don't have to go learn how to program in Python anymore.
mm,
I can literally get the AI code, the coding from Python, from AI.
mm,
And And so there's so many things that are going to be changing how people do as a worker in that
Yeah.
field,
Yeah.
but understanding what marketplace are you actually in and how will it be changing in the future? And will you be literally part of the change or just following it? Can you literally step in and be a, a leader in guiding your clients to the place they need to be going next with some of their products or their solutions, because they will need your assistance. So
Yeah, fascinating. And so really what you're painting is a picture where any provider of staffing and resources is going to have to be more consultative in their relationship with their clients.
absolutely. And to some extent, um, if you care about your employees, because all staffing companies always talk about helping people, they change lives, they help people get to their dreams, they help them embrace opportunities. Well, part of that responsibility will be more heavy on us than ever before. That you could
Mm,
have people that are great at programming today,
mm,
but do you want to be the last programmer still coding? Or do you want your company to help you understand the fact that you need to start using AI to help
mm,
you work faster, work more proficiently? And what skills do you need to learn to go in every career? There's going to be a level up step that needs to help them understand how do you start working with the AI aspect that's
mm.
going to be entering your workplace with you. And
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a big responsibility that staffing companies, if they still want to have human workers, you could just move into the robotics and just leave workers behind. But the reality, if you want to have the people still involved, you'll have to bring them along with you and help them understand what they need to start developing to be competitive themselves.
Yeah.
Which, if they are, then you will, because you're going to have that new competitive workforce. So
Yeah. So if you are in the staffing industry and you've really not touched this yet, you've not embraced it, what is the starting point, Michael? Where do you go to begin to get your head around this?
uh, I think the reality is I'd say go to LinkedIn, go to YouTube, and start doing some research on what is happening in the chats going on in AI.
Mm,
So learn by listening and watching to see what's happening. I think that's the first thing you have to do, is not act, but you have to build up your knowledge
mm,
about what really is going on.
mm,
The act would be, if you haven't used Chat GPT or Perplexity, act is go try them out. Go
mm,
actually and use some of those tools. In the world of recruiting right now, it's this strange world where applicants are having to deal with AI. They have to get by AI decision makers in their world. And recruiters are having to understand how much of their applicant base are using AI assistants to get through them. So I think
yeah.
there's this natural, you should do it just by self preservation. Be aware of,
Yeah.
if you want to look at AI as being a competitive force, and that's fine, go learn it. Go learn to
Yeah.
see what you have to watch out for. But there's another aspect of it. Learn it because you can turn it on to be a tool to make you better. So
Fantastic. Michael, we're out of time, but all I would say to the audience is if you wanted some more of Michael, then make sure that you get onto the call on the 17th, Inverting the Hiring Pyramid, and we've got Michael on the panel. So Michael, for today, thanks very much for your time.
great. Thank you, Ian.